Boop. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, November the 8th, 2021. Today's daily Bible readings come to us from Psalm 113, Genesis 24, 1 through 10, 1 Timothy 5, 1 through 8, or you could have read Psalm 94, Ruth 1, 1 through 22, and then 1 Timothy 5, 1 through 8 again. I'm going to take a look at 1 Timothy and talk about the real housewives or the real widows of Ephesus. So Paul's got this letter and he's giving pastoral advice to Timothy, and just practical advice of how to be a pastor, especially because Timothy's in a unique spot. He's kind of a young guy, and it's kind of hard starting off as a young person in ministry because generally everybody's older than you, and that's right where Paul starts off. He gives them some, flat advice about how to speak to people, specifically how to speak to older people, how to speak to people the same age as him, how to speak to other men, how to speak to other women. And then he gets into this advice and he starts talking about real widows. So Paul distinguishes between two types of widows. Two types of widows. He talks about the real widows, and then he talks about all the rest. And there's one subset of that all the rest that I'm not even going to get into because it's pretty hinky. But all the rest basically are those women whose husbands had died, yes, but they had children, and some of them even grandchildren, who really had a duty to care for these mothers and grandmothers. And Paul says, you should honor widows, but these widows that still have children and grandchildren, you need to let those people step up and live up to their duty before they just, these women are just cast on the church. In other words, as he says, they should live out their religious duty to their own family and make some repayment to their parents, for this is pleasing in God's sight. In other words, these ladies gave up a lot for their children and their grandchildren, and they're a big part of why their children and grandchildren are around, are successful, and these guys and gals have a religious duty to look after their moms and their grandmoms. Just because dad's gone doesn't mean that they don't have that duty anymore. They can't just cast them on the church and say, well, let God take care of them. Now he's like, the church will take care of the widows, but the church's main focus for that is going to be on the ladies who really, their husbands died and they have no inheritance. They had no children. They have no grandchildren. They have nobody to take care of them. And in the ancient world, in Paul's world, in Timothy's world, that was a real problem. You could die and leave your spouse, and then they would have no one to take care of them, and nothing belonged to them. So they were just really cast out there. Paul says a lot of these people aren't like that. They're being treated like that, and that's wrong. It's not their fault, but their families need to step up, and you need to tell them to do so. In other words, you have a duty to your own family, and it isn't enough just to expect God and the church to take care of the things that you're supposed to take care of. The real widows, the ones who have no one in the world to care for them, they get that help. So get out there, do your duty, take care of your mom and dad, the widows. Anyway, that's a DBR for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Get out and enjoy this great weather because we're only going to have a couple more days of it, and then it's going to get cold again. Talk to you later. Boop.